Gather ye, goodly folk of fanciful fancies, for we embark upon an enchanting expedition into the eldritch realms of wizardry. Lo and behold, our first subject of scholarly scrutiny be none other than the illustrious unicorns, those resplendent rascals of purity that prance with a grace most gallant through the verdant thickets of yonder enchanted forests. With coats as white as freshly fallen snow and horns that glimmer like the sun-kissed dew upon a morning's bloom, these creatures are naught but a mirage to the untrained eye. Spotting one is akin to attempting to catch a whisper in the wind, or persuading a cat to recite Shakespeare. But hark! What sorcery lies beneath their shimmering surfaces? These majestic beings possess an aura so potent that even the most seasoned sorcerers find themselves spellbound. It is said that their tears can cure any ailment known to man or beast, yet acquiring such precious droplets requires not only cunning but also a dash of absurdity. Forsooth, one must engage in a ludicrous dance whilst reciting tongue-twisting incantations. Silly Sally swiftly shooed 7 silly sheep to coax forth these elusive tears from their sparkling eyes. Now, dear students of magic, let us delve deeper into the arcane facts surrounding these fantastical creatures. Unicorns are not merely figments of fanciful imagination, they are steeped in history and mythos. From ancient scrolls penned by wizards long forgotten to tales whispered by firelight, unicorns have been revered as symbols of purity and grace throughout the ages. Yet beware! For those who seek to capture one for nefarious purposes shall find themselves ensnared in a web of mischief spun by fate itself. As we traverse this whimsical world, allow me to introduce you to an intriguing twist. A new spell recently unearthed from the dusty tomes of yore. This spell, known as Unicornus Revelare, promises to unveil hidden unicorns within one's vicinity. However, it comes with an absurd caveat. One must don a hat made entirely of spaghetti whilst chanting its incantation thrice under the light of a waxing moon. Yes, indeed, a culinary cap for conjuring creatures, a notion both ridiculous and revelatory. Imagine now, if thou wilt, the scene. A group of earnest apprentices clad in robes adorned with glittering stars gather beneath the silvery moonlight. Each dons their spaghetti hats with utmost seriousness, while reciting Unicornus Revelare with fervour befitting a bard at court. Yet lo, instead of unicorns appearing before them, they are beset by an army of mischievous pixies who mistake their noodle headgear for an invitation to frolic. In this delightful debacle lies our lesson. Magic is oft unpredictable and filled with folly. The pixies, rather than wreaking havoc as one might expect, decide instead to join forces with our hapless apprentices in search of unicorns. Together they concoct an even more ludicrous plan involving bubblegum balloons and confetti cannons, an endeavour destined for hilarity rather than success. Yet amidst this chaos emerges clarity, for it is through laughter and camaraderie that true magic flourishes, as our intrepid band learns that sometimes it is not about capturing mythical beasts, but rather embracing the joy found in shared absurdity. Thus do we conclude our chapter on unicorns, not merely as creatures to be sought after, but as symbols reminding us that whimsy often holds greater power than any spell. So remember well this day's teachings. When seeking magical wonders, do so with an open heart and perhaps a plateful of pasta atop thy head. For who knows what enchantments await those willing to embrace both silliness and sincerity. And should you ever find yourself lost amidst enchanted woods, simply summon your inner jester. You may just stumble upon something far more wondrous than you ever imagined. In closing this whimsical welcome into Wizarding 101, I bid thee farewell until our next adventure unfolds, a journey where magic dances hand in hand with mirth. In a quaint and curious cottage, where the walls whispered secrets of yore and the rafters danced with dust motes, there resided a band of boisterous house-elves, with ears akin to oversized bat wings and eyes that twinkled like stars trapped in a jar. These sprightly sprites delighted in the delightful drudgery of domestic duties. Yet lo, their penchant for pandemonium was as potent as their passion for polishing pots. One moment thou might sip thy soothing tea, and the next, poof, thy teapot transmogrified into a tap-dancing tortoise prancing about with glee. "Pray tell," quoth one elf named Fiddlesticks, his voice a cacophony of mischief and mirth, "what manner of magic dost thou brew in thy cup?" With a flourish most flamboyant, he flung his arms wide, causing the very air to shimmer with absurdity. Might it be a potion of perplexity, or merely an elixir of eccentricity? The other elves erupted in raucous laughter, their giggles echoing like chimes in a tempest. Yet amidst this merry mayhem lay an arcane ambition, a lesson to impart upon their unsuspecting human host. Forsooth, the elves had devised a new spell, Elixir of Eccentricity, which promised to transform mundane moments into magnificent mischief. But alas, the incantation was fraught with folly. Its pronunciation required precision akin to threading a needle whilst riding a unicycle on a tightrope strung over an abyss. As the sun dipped low and shadows stretched long, the elves gathered around their hapless human companion. "Attend!" they cried in unison, their voices weaving together like threads of fate. "We shall teach thee this tantalizing trick, but beware, the tongue-twisting talisman must be uttered with utmost accuracy, lest chaos reign supreme." They brandished their wands, crafted from the finest whimsy, and prepared for the grand demonstration. "Repeat after us," commanded Fiddlesticks with exaggerated gravitas. "Elixir of eccentricity." The words tumbled forth like marbles down a staircase. Each syllable danced dangerously on the precipice of disaster. The human hesitated, caught between curiosity and caution, a precarious position indeed. With bated breath and trembling lips, they attempted to mimic the incantation. Alas, in that fateful moment of hesitation came calamity. Instead of conjuring whimsical wonders, the spell backfired spectacularly. Instead of transforming teapots into tap-dancing tortoises, it summoned an army of animated spoons that began to duel fiercely upon the tablecloth, a veritable melee of metallic mayhem. Clattering and clanging echoed through the cottage as spoons clashed like knights in battle. "Oh dear!" exclaimed another elf named Tiddlywink, her eyes wide with astonishment. "What have we wrought? This is not what we intended." Yet even as chaos reigned supreme within those four walls, laughter bubbled forth from every corner as they watched their human friend attempt to quell the spoon skirmish with flailing arms and frantic shouts. In an unexpected twist, most delightful, amidst this absurdist uproar, emerged an ancient tome from beneath a pile of laundry. A dusty grimoire titled The Compendium of Culinary Conundrums. Its pages fluttered open as if possessed by some unseen force. Within its depths lay secrets untold. Spells for taming wayward utensils, and recipes for enchanting beverages that could charm even the most cantankerous cutlery. With newfound knowledge at hand, and perhaps just enough sarcasm to spare, the elves rallied together once more. "Fear not," they declared triumphantly, "for we shall turn this tumultuous tide. Let us wield our wands wisely this time." And so they did. Together they recited incantations anew, this time with clarity befitting true magicians, and soon enough, order was restored amidst laughter and joy. Thus concluded this chapter in their whimsical tale. Lessons learned through laughter's lens and magic's embrace. For what is life without a sprinkle of absurdity? And what are house-elves without their delightful chaos? As peace settled once more over the cottage, a teapot now safely returned to its rightful form, the elves exchanged knowing glances filled with mischief, yet unspent. In sooth, prithee lend thine ear to this whimsical tale of wondrous beasts and beguiling spells. Forsooth, the wizarding world doth teem with fantastical fauna, from the soaring hippogriffs that doth grace the skies with their majestic wings to the slumbering dragons, whose snores could rattle the very foundations of a fortress. Yet beware, dear reader, for lurking in the shadows are Nifflers, those mischievous little rogues who delight in pilfering thy precious possessions with nary a second thought. Aye, they art like kleptomaniac magpies on a sugar high. Now let us not tarry upon mere trifles. Instead, let us delve into the arcane arts of magical instruction. Gather round, ye aspiring sorcerers and sorceresses, as we embark upon a most peculiar lesson. Today's topic shall be none other than the Bowtruckle, the fierce guardian of wandwood trees. These pint-sized protectors possess an insatiable appetite for insects and an even greater disdain for those who dare disturb their leafy abodes. Shouldst thou wish to approach one without incurring its wrath, thou must first master the art of polite entreaty. Pardon me, noble Bowtruckle, might I borrow thy branch for but a moment? But lo, as our lesson unfolds amidst giggles and gasps, a twist most unexpected doth arise. The esteemed Professor Widdershins, a wizard renowned for his eccentricity, doth unveil a new spell, Fiddlesticks Flamoxicus. This incantation promises to turn any creature into an absurdly oversized version of itself. Imagine, if thou wilt, a dragon as large as a castle, or a Niffler that could swallow thine entire treasure hoard whole. The classroom erupts in laughter at such ludicrous imagery. Yet hark! As Professor Widdershins demonstrates this spell upon an unsuspecting Bowtruckle, calamity strikes. Instead of growing in size, the creature transforms into an enormous bouquet of flowers, each petal bursting forth with sarcastic quips about wizardly incompetence. "Oh dear," quoth Widdershins with feigned nonchalance. "I suppose I should have read the fine print on that scroll." The students roar with mirth whilst pondering whether they ought to take notes or simply enjoy the spectacle. As chaos reigns supreme within the hallowed halls of learning, our intrepid students seize this opportunity to experiment with their newfound knowledge. With wands aloft and hearts racing like hippogriffs in flight, they attempt to reverse the spell's effects. "Hocus pocus reversicus!" they chant in unison, a cacophony of tongue-twisting alliteration that would make even Merlin himself chuckle. To their astonishment and perhaps mild horror, the Bowtruckle blossoms further into an entire garden of sentient flora. Each flower now possesses its own personality. Some are sassy and sarcastic, while others are downright philosophical about life's many mysteries. "Why dost thou seek power when all ye need is love?" one daisy muses, while another chimes in with witty retorts about herbology. In this delightful debacle lies an important lesson. Magic is not merely about wielding power, but rather understanding its unpredictable nature. As our young wizards grapple with their floral fiasco, they learn that true mastery comes not from control but from embracing chaos and creativity alike. They discover that every spellcast carries potential consequences far beyond what one might envision. With laughter echoing through enchanted corridors and petals swirling like confetti around them, our students finally manage to recite Fiddlesticks Flamoxicus once more, this time with precision befitting seasoned sorcerers. In a flash of light and laughter, their beloved Bowtruckle returns to its original form. Yet it bears an air of wisdom acquired through its flowery escapade. Thus concludes our chapter on curious creatures and conjured conundrums, a tale woven with absurdist humour and arcane facts aplenty. Remember well these lessons learned amidst whimsy. Magic is as much about discovery as it is about mastery. Embrace each twist along thy journey. In sooth, our tempestuous tour doth draw to a close, yet fret not, for the adventure shall ne'er cease. Gather ye robes of resplendent hue and wands wrought from the finest wood, for magical marvels await at every twist and turn of this whimsical world. As we bid adieu to this enchanted escapade, let us revel in the absurdity of our arcane pursuits, where logic takes a holiday and whimsy reigns supreme. Lo, the art of magic is naught but a curious concoction of belief and bewilderment. Dost thou recall yon lesson on levitation? A mere flick of the wrist and a chant most peculiar, flibbity flabbity flew, and one could ascend into the ether like a feathered fowl. Yet beware, dear pupils, for shouldst thou mispronounce such incantations, thou may find thyself transformed into an unseemly toad, or worse, a bureaucrat. Ah, the horror. As we traverse this tapestry of enchantment, let us not forget the vital importance of tongue-twisting terminology. Sibilant serpents slither silently, I declare. Such phrases are not merely for amusement, nay, they serve as splendid spells that sharpen thy vocal prowess while summoning spirits from beyond. And what better way to teach than through laughter? Forsooth, a chuckle can be more potent than any potion brewed in a cauldron. Yet hark, a plot twist doth loom upon the horizon like a shadowy spectre. In our final lesson on spellcrafting, I shall unveil a new enchantment, Cacophonic Conundrum. This spell promises to confound even the most astute sorcerers with its perplexing power. With but a single utterance, bibbidi-bobbidi bamboozle, one can create an uproarious ruckus that leaves all within earshot utterly befuddled. But beware, shouldst thou fail to master its intricacies, thine own thoughts may become ensnared in an endless loop of nonsensical babble. Now picture this. As we prepare to cast our cacophonous charm amidst giggles and guffaws, lo and behold, a mischievous pixie named Pumpernickel prances forth with glee. Nay, she squeaks with delight, thou hast forgotten the ancient rule of magical mischief. He who jests must first jest wisely. Thus begins our delightful debacle as Pumpernickel challenges us to outwit her with riddles wrapped in rhymes. With each riddle posed, a veritable verbal volley, we find ourselves ensnared in an absurdist game where logic is but a fleeting figment. What hath wings yet cannot fly, she taunts. A chicken in a corset, I retort with fervour. Laughter erupts like fireworks on Midsummer's Eve as we tumble down this rabbit hole of ridiculousness. Alas, just when victory seems within grasp, Pumpernickel reveals her true form, a grand sorceress cloaked in shimmering stardust. Thou hast passed my test, she proclaims with theatrical flair. But heed my warning, magic is not merely about spells, it is about heart. With that sage advice echoing through our minds like an enchanted echo chamber, we realize that belief is indeed the cornerstone of all things magical. As we gather our belongings, wands tucked neatly beneath arms and robes swirling like autumn leaves, we reflect upon our journey through this fantastical realm. Each lesson learned was laced with laughter and laced with love. Every incantation uttered was steeped in sincerity and silliness alike. So take heed, dear friends, though our whirlwind tour hath come to its conclusion, remember always that magic is real if thou dost believe. Let thy hearts be light and thy spirits soar high as you venture forth into realms unknown where wonders await around every corner. And thus ends our tale, a tapestry woven from threads of whimsy and wonderment, wherein lies the truth that magic exists not just in spells but within each soul willing to embrace its enchanting essence.